Psychic abilities are here to help us make decisions in our lives, and it comes through our skill sets and our senses. So we might use our intuitive abilities to help us make decisions about, should I be in this relationship? Ooh, I don't feel like I should be turning left today. I don't know why. Let's turn right. There's lots of examples that we could go in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, the psychic piece is about connecting to people and places and situations in our lives to help us make informed decisions. And through a psychic connection, we can connect to all sorts of things. We can connect to a person telepathically and find out what someone's really thinking. Does that person really like me, or are they just, faking it? We can connect to collective consciousness, we'll see, and get like a higher level piece of information about maybe what's going on in the world or what's going on if I follow a certain avenue. And for me, it's about where we are going to get the information. We might go to our spirit guides. We might go to the angels. We might go to the spirit of Crow. We might go to Mother Earth. We might go to Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever God is for you. And the intention is to get accurate information, from my perspective, to make informed decisions that will help us or others.
Hello, Thrivers. Welcome back to Thrive with Sharon podcast. It is still season 3 and we are rolling along, and I continue to find incredible guests. And actually, this is not a guest that I found. We've actually been connected for quite some time, several years. We were introduced by a mutual friend. I think it was Jillian. And so I am really excited to bring this beautiful soul in front of you so that you can hear all of her beautiful wisdom, and she can share some of the things that she is doing in the world. And her name is Kelly Ferguson. And I'm going to just do a quick introduction of Kelly, and then we're going to go ahead and get started into the conversation, which is what we normally like to do. Kelly is a leading psychic medium, a shamanic healer, a spiritual teacher who has been working directly with spirit for over 38 years. As a child, she was connected to source and knew that she had a higher calling. As a professional psychic medium and a shamanic healer, Kelly has conducted thousands of professional readings and provided hundreds of hours in intuitive development programs and events over the past 10 years. I'm sorry, my eyes are like fading on me here. And is a leader in intuitive empowerment. She understands the world of energy. Yes, she does. Communicates with a vast spiritual landscape and bridges the gap between heaven and earth with ease, which is like, oh, that is like some of my heart speak. You could not be in better hands or follow in more guided footsteps with Kelly. And I can attest to that. So, Kelly, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I have been looking forward to this. It's just been such a great morning, even just getting excited to connect here today. So thank you.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. I know it's like the anticipation of the conversation. You just kind of know that it's going to be wonderful. And so, Kelly, before we get started into some of the amazing things that you actually do in your daily life and in kind of how you serve, tell us a little bit more about you. Where are you located? Where are you from originally? And I want to really understand what it was like for you with kind of learning that you have these gifts.
Yes, yes. So I'm in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. I've always been in the Greater Toronto area for all of my life, so definitely connected to community here.
Mm,
And from a child, I was certainly connected with spirit, although when I was little, I didn't necessarily understand what I was doing or what was happening
yeah.
because I didn't have any perspective. But
Mhm.
looking back and putting myself into those memories and into those moments, I could very clearly pick up on the energy of people that were around me. I could
Mm,
understand their deepest hurts. I could understand, even if they were happy, I could see the sadness, for example. I could see, really into the depths of their emotions and understand the moving parts that were going on around them. And it really gave me a deeper perspective of people and humans.
mm,
And even though at the time I didn't understand all of that, it was a difficult transition
yeah.
because when I would speak to these things, people would either be very uncomfortable or they would say, no, no, that's not true. And I didn't realize that I was an empath. I didn't realize that I was picking up the emotions and energies of others. And so, because I didn't have anyone to guide me, it really was about kind of fumbling and finding my way through the dark for a little bit. And
Mm.
then my transition took me to connect with spirit. And spirit was actually my first psychic and intuitive development teachers for the majority of my journey. So it was quite an interesting start for me.
That's amazing. And I love how you were very soft about the way that you described your experience with fumbling through. Um, I, I'm sure that a lot of people, especially in the audience that are listening now, might have found that it wasn't such a fumble. It might have actually been quite traumatic.
Yes. Yes, it
Mm,
it can be. And
mm,
some of my earliest experiences had to do with, the Hollywood perspective of spirit and the paranormal. I remember at a very
mm.
young age, my parents, for whatever reason, loved watching Poltergeist and movies like Children of the Corn. And so when I was a child and I'm picking up these senses around me and connecting with spirit and feeling ghosts around me. I didn't have any other title for it other than ghosts.
Yeah.
And then seeing things like Poltergeist and Children of the Corn really putting a fear based energy into me about, oh my goodness, the things that
Mhm.
are around me that I'm picking up on are dangerous. I could get hurt. Other people could be hurt. I could be tricked. And
Mm.
it took quite an evolution for me because even though this information was being sent to me, it didn't go in alignment with how I was feeling inside. I didn't
Yeah.
feel scared of what was going on around me. I didn't feel like I was being attacked. So I'm really glad that in those moments, although there was fear swirling around me, I anchored into my trust. And I'm glad I held on to that because it really helped me move forward and move beyond these fears and blockages that were so prevalent and being offered to me by my entire environment.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so amazing that you're like plunked down somewhere, right? Anywhere in the world in in our now moments, and you look around and your inner experience and your perception of your outer experiences are so drastically different than the herd, right?
Yes, very
And
much.
so I have a huge appreciation for that. And I think about my own experiences as well. But I what I love hearing is that you found this deep trust within yourself at a sounds like a very young age.
Yes, yes, I was
Wow.
definitely 5 years old and under when I
Wow.
already knew this was happening already. And around the age of 11 is when I really started to communicate in the way that I would describe as two-way communication, meaning not just
Mhm.
waiting to pick up something, but instead reaching out to spirit and having a
Mhm.
conversation and
Mhm.
initiating contact instead of just
Yeah.
waiting to receive something.
Ah, whew, that is like such a metaphor. I can't.
In so many ways.
Like, if that isn't part of your purpose, Kelly, I don't know. To be able to show people that, because I just think about again the commercialized, you call it the Hollywood version, right, of the way that things need to be. And I think that, we we have to use this discernment when it comes to um things of the unseen, right? And so I do believe that because everything to most people is unseen, that they believe that when something's presented in front of them, that that's the whole picture. And that isn't the case. And so just even you describing this two-way communication is going to be new to some people, right? Because many people believe, okay, so I'm looking for a sign. People walk around looking for a sign, right? Which
Yeah.
very much it creates this like disempowerment. How would you describe it, and how would you say that when people land in front of you now, okay, um, how would you say that, the kind of, if we were to reach the bell curve, like where the majority of people would be?
Hmm. I think you're really on point already in terms of people's perspective, meaning a lot of people are not an active participant in their own spiritual conversation. They
Boom.
many Yeah,
Yeah.
they that's the hardcore truth of it.
Yeah.
They might be picking up on random things and sensing things, but I feel a lot of the people that are in the earlier stages of their communication are looking at this as more of a, oh, well, isn't that interesting or isn't that cool type of aspect, but not necessarily reaching for more or scratching beyond that face value
Yeah.
of what the image or the emotion or the thought is. They just kind of see it for what it is and maybe put it up on the shelf. And
Hmm.
then later, what I find happens is they have other synchronicities that show up that call them back to those pieces. And then they go, wait a minute, maybe that did mean something. Maybe I should be listening a little deeper. And I think that's what really motivates people to then be curious about their intuition and then to want to dive into it a little bit more because even though they're not seeing all of the pieces to the puzzle come together, they're
Hmm.
seeing clear pieces of the puzzle. And they know that with perhaps some support in some way, they might be able to put those puzzle pieces together and work with that energy in a more tangible, meaningful way where they feel like they have more control over it.
I love the way you phrase that. I think that's so wonderful. And it's just a very easily digestible way to understand something that can be a lot.
Yes. And I think the reason why it feels overwhelming and it feels like a lot to so
Mm,
many people is because the energy that we're connecting to many times feels like it's coming from the external. And when
yes.
it's coming from the external, it's hard for us to always identify with it.
Mm,
So we don't dive into it. And I think that's where a lot of our intuitive empowerment comes from us making the choice to say, even though there might be some external things going on around me, how can I bring it into my orbit? How can I interact with this energy and empower myself to be part of that conversation and energetic exchange?
hmm. And the word empowerment is just ribboned throughout all that I see in you and how you speak, and also just in the work that you provide. We've been connected for several years now on social media, so we get to bebop around in each other's, work, and I love it. And empowerment is definitely very much part of the energy of what you are providing to people. Do you want to go a little deeper into that? And I know you're talking about intuitive empowerment, but there's so many different, I think, pillars for you with the very intentional empowerment that you are looking to provide.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I would say the first step for most people is self-empowerment because so many people that receive these messages, whether it's through your sight, your feelings, your hearing, your knowing, a lot of people, like I said, tend to dismiss or go, oh, okay. But I think the first piece of empowerment is about trusting yourself to realize I am receiving.
Yeah.
I am connected. I may not know what all these moving parts are, and I may not be able to label it or fully identify, but being able to have that self empowerment to say, I'm willing to dive deeper and learn more about myself. I'm willing to go outside the box, even if it's just for a peek, and give myself an outsider perspective and allow myself to explore in a way that maybe I haven't considered or maybe I haven't been comfortable. That's really the first step for a lot of people.
Hmm.
And at that point, some people might start to explore and experiment and discover, well, this isn't for me for whatever reason. And
Hmm.
that's fine.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there's others who I think will go up to the next level of empowerment to then say, there's some skills here that maybe I don't know how to operate, Or maybe there's further things within my own skills, my own senses that now I can learn from. But
Mhm.
how do I do that? And that next level of empowerment is saying, I trust what's going on within me so much to want to know more about myself and how I'm interacting with the world. And so I'm willing to learn new things so that I can become more fluent in
Yeah.
a new energetic language.
I love that so much. It's that journey of, we all, depending upon the lens and the approach that we come from, but it's, it's self-mastery.
It is. It is.
Right?
And I feel that with the individuals that come to me in a learning capacity, and I'm very specific and strategic in the way that I teach because I love to put working tools right in people's hands.
Yes.
I don't want people to wait for 8 months, 10 months to
Yeah.
have the secrets to the universe. The way that I approach this is everybody has their own strength. Everybody has their own skill set. And so let's get you connected with what is already working for you so we can get you up and running now. And then we look at filling in the gaps for the areas that are maybe not as operational, we'll say. And this really takes people to that next level of empowerment to see that I'm the one that's in control. And where I choose to explore ultimately expands my own universe about what I'm really capable of. And that's where people really start to put the connections together between I'm doing this, I'm involving and creating and asking these questions, and then this is the outcome. Oh my goodness, I'm doing it. And it
Yeah.
empowers them to go further to say, what else of my skills is not online? Where else can I go? And how else can I use this to benefit myself in my life and those around me?
Hmm. Yeah. I think that's incredible. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you have so much Saturn energy. It's like, it's like very like logical and like wisdom, and put it down and make it organized, create the grid work, like lay all of the different like, channels that can help to direct you towards something. And so that you have something very powerful. And I think that's so incredible. And
Thank you.
I have such an appreciation for that because that is not really part of my energy.
And I think that this comes from a place because I've been teaching spiritual and intuitive development for over 10 years now, and this comes from a place of me learning and accumulation for myself. The way
Mhm.
I taught 10 years ago has
Yeah.
evolved because I've learned
Sure.
what works better, what helps
Yeah.
people transfer the skills and really start using them. So every time I approach it, it's always a little bit different and always building on itself. So I
Yeah.
am very streamlined in that way
Yeah.
because I know what works and what doesn't. And I really try to connect and bring the most efficient practices to those around us because that's what we all want. We all want to be able to make those changes and make those strides and find these little tools that we can put in our tool belt and make them work for ourselves. And the best gift I can do or offer to anyone is tools to empower themselves.
100%. 100%. And I think that's so wonderful how you approach it. Let's talk a little bit more about mediumship, right? And I know that there, I already know
Excuse
what
me.
your thoughts are, but I want you to share them with the world. The difference between, being a psychic and being a medium. And I know that you have a very specific belief and understanding of what that means. There are kind of two major separate beliefs. One is there's a difference between being a psychic and being a medium, and then there's one that's just like it's all the same. Where are you at with that? And let's, because I know that people are wondering this, right? About
Yes.
themselves. And they're also just wondering this about like if they're looking for someone to help to kind of like be their guide, right? Or be their shaman. Um, you know, they want to know like what to look for. So let's hear. I'm really excited to hear from you like about that.
Yes. Yes. So just at the core of everything else, just like our intuition, Everyone has the ability to use their intuitive senses, which also includes our connection to our loved ones in heaven, our deceased loved ones, and that's mediumship. So, for anyone who's here who is really on a basic level of understanding, psychic abilities, and this is all from my perspective, psychic abilities are here to help us make decisions in our lives. And it comes through our skill sets and our senses. So we might use our intuitive abilities to help us make decisions about, should I be in this relationship? Ooh, I don't feel like I should be turning left today. I don't know why. Let's turn right. There's lots of examples that we could go in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But for me, the psychic piece is about connecting to people and places and situations in our lives to help us make informed decisions. And through a psychic connection, we can connect to all sorts of things. We can connect to a person telepathically and find out what someone's really thinking. Does that person really like me, or are they just, faking it? We can connect to collective consciousness, we'll see, and get like a higher level piece of information about maybe what's going on in the world or what's going on if I follow a certain avenue. And for me, it's about where we are going to get the information.
Mm.
Might go to our spirit guides. We might go to the angels. We might go to the spirit of crow. We might go to Mother Earth. We might go to Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever God is for you. And the intention is to get accurate information, from my perspective, to make informed decisions that will help us or others. Mediumship is still connecting and getting information, but it's a specific source that we're going to. We're going to Aunt Betty. We're going to mom. We're going to grandpa for that specific information. We're not just putting it up there in the world and saying, hey, collective consciousness. This is the process of trying to connect specifically with one soul or multiple souls
Mhm.
in order to validate their presence. So
Mhm. Mhm.
there's also a difference between mediumship and evidential mediumship. Okay.
Mm.
Because anybody can say, I've got a mom here and she says, I love you. Well, that's lovely, but let's be honest. To me, that's a big so what? Because anybody can say, Mom's here and she says, I love you. That really doesn't
Yeah.
make us know that this is mom. But when we can say, I'm connecting with a woman in heaven who says that she's a mother energy, who passed away of a heart attack, who had 3 children, who worked as a seamstress and had a dog named Boo, then we know through evidence, through this person's memories and whatnot, that
Mhm.
this is who this is. And then if mom's message is, I love you, then that's fine. Because first we know where the message is coming from.
Yeah.
Just like in the world, we don't take messages or talk to strangers. I don't take messages from strangers either. I want to know who we're talking to so that we can get the evidence. And the whole purpose of a mediumship connection as compared to a psychic connection is not to get advice and answers or validations over, is this guy the right? Ooh, my ears are ringing off the hooks now. It's not the process to find out, is this guy right for me or should I take that job? This is to validate their presence in your life through evidence. So I would counsel and recommend to people, and I do when they come to me, that what they want to achieve in their reading has the biggest impact in terms of where I go to get the most accurate information.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, bookmark that for a second. Why are your ears ringing?
My ears are ringing because that's a connection of clear audience. So, clear audience is clear hearing. That's a skill that comes through our senses. So,
Mm.
my ear is ringing off the hook because as I'm speaking this now, I'm not diving into that to ask because I'm connecting here with you, but
Right.
this is a validation of spirit saying, yes, we like that. Keep talking, or that's excellent information, or yes, in alignment. It's just another validation that my system is showing me that, yes, share this, offer this, this is correct information.
Love,
Thank you,
love,
Spirit.
love, love, love. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for always being with us.
And I
Um,
just want to say in that moment, right
mm,
here, this is an example of two-way communication. for everyone who's looking and everyone who's listening. So we want to be part of this conversation. So spirits reached out to me in some sort of capacity to say, yes, this is good. So I'm going to answer back and acknowledge their presence in my life and their wisdom to keep encouraging me. That's how we become part of the conversation. Instead of just ignoring it and going, like this,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
acknowledge it and we welcome it into our space that we're co-creating with.
Yeah, yeah. I think that for me, in my own experiences of all of the things, psychic, mediumship, all of the things, I received a lot of information all at the same time. So part of my self mastery was to be able to do exactly that. Honor, be part of it, be in the flow of it, right? And so kind of like get into that hum of the universe where you can really just receive all of that information and also still be present at the same time. And that is and be grateful, right?
Yes,
And be grateful and to say thank you and to and I think that there's this level of groundedness and peace and also like high vibration, for one way of putting it, being in the light that it's undeniable. And that's how I think we can kind of see one another as well, right? When we kind of like understand where that bounty comes from. And also we can see, for me, what I've noticed is I can see when people are struggling with that, like their own mediumship or their own psychic gifts, and also like the self-trust aspect. And I think they all kind of go hand in hand, right? So um I so period, right? I also think that right now is such an incredible time, and I'm noticing this in the work that I'm doing and working with like conscious leadership and all of that, but to really start to harness the intuition part, because I think that that's a great kind of like, I don't want to say ground level because it's not anywhere near the ground, but it's like it's it's a great first step, right? For
yes,
many people. And so what I love is that like over the past 10 years you've evolved in your own service, right? And so
yes,
now you actually are working with business leaders, right?
yes,
In helping to dial in their intuition and to really be part of that self-mastery. Tell us about that.
absolutely. I think that it is so important that people understand that your intuition is not a one-trick pony. It's not just to be used to connect with grandma in heaven or tell me the lottery numbers,
Yeah.
right? Or what is he really thinking? Because when you learn how to communicate with the universe, you're having a conversation and you don't have to pigeonhole your conversation. And that's how I find the benefits of working with entrepreneurs and business people can be very, very effective because the tools that I give to people are discernment tools,
Yeah.
are calibration tools, are easy tools that we can ask ourselves or ask the universe for yeses, for nos, for validations of the things that we feel. For example, should I be working with this partner?
Yeah.
Should I make this investment now or next year?
Mhm.
Should I create this new business now or should I hold off? Will it not wield me the results or yield the results I'm looking for? So
Mhm.
when we are willing to have those conversations with spirit, we are arming ourselves with energy and information that's in our best good. And the way that I look at our life journey here on earth, we can say it's not a straight line, but let's just say we're supposed to go from here to here, right? In our life journey. Spirit says this is your path and this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Many times, what we do is we take little detours from our path,
Yeah.
right? So, whether this is because of a relationship that we shouldn't be in or a decision that we make, we tend to kind of go off the beaten path. We come back to it eventually and line back up.
Mhm.
But many times we're taking these little detours off our path because we're not listening to our intuition. And in those
Mhm.
moments, in the moments of the crossroads, when we can use some simple skills to say, is it left or right? Is it up or down? Is it now or later? We can give ourselves that opportunity to stay in alignment with the path that's working or then to go off and do a detour. And I think that our ability to use our intuition in those moments, whether it's for this partnership, whether it's the timing, whether it's, I think that the forecast of our return on investment is going to be in this percentage,
Mhm.
validate for me, spirit, is this the case? When you know that information, then you can move forward and take action with ease, without the stress, without the worry. And how much time and energy do you save by simply dipping into that pool of knowledge and then applying it to the actions that you take? And
Right.
this is the
Yes.
gift that we can give to everybody. The beautiful thing is, it's for us to decide how we use it in our best good. And I've seen some amazing things happen with some interesting entrepreneurs and business opportunities that have skyrocketed or gone to levels that they didn't anticipate because they were willing to ask questions that they were not comfortable with, and to
Mm.
move forward with their own feelings and to sit in that energy themselves. And instead of saying, where's the proof in the pudding, say, what feels right? And
Oh,
almost anytime we move with what feels right, the
yes.
actions are in alignment with our energetic path of what is right for us.
Right. And you're really threading the needle through some things that I think haven't really been well articulated in like the commercial, like realm of manifestation and intuition and those types of things and self trust. And so, what I'm hearing you say is, well, and I'm going to say this, there's no wrong path. There's no
That's
wrong
right.
path. And especially when you set the intention that you want to really like learn how to listen to your intuition, that it's not about getting the right answer, right? So should I buy this lottery ticket? Should I have this business partner join me or whatever? The result of whatever it is that you're asking, you whatever intuitive hit that you might get or response that you might get will help you to kind of, I call it like remove the static or like take the mud off the lens, right? Because we don't realize how maybe potentially distorted our vision is or our clarity and our connection towards our intuition is until we start to work with it, right? And that allows us to be able to like deconstruct or to just like eliminate a lot of that static. So we can do what you're saying, which is just like move through life with ease. So it really frees us up to think, you know what, there's no wrong answer. It's just one step closer to me in my own self mastery,
That's right. That's
right?
right.
So it's not about attachment to, oh gosh, I really need to know if this person likes me, or I really need to know if, well, I was going to say if I should marry this person or whatever, but like if you're asking that question, like you kind of already know what the answer is. But
Yes, exactly.
but and 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 to realize that it's not about getting the right answer, like something outside of you is going to let you know. It's like it's just find your way towards your inner verse, find your way towards your just right spot, find your way, because this description of this path, this kind of more linear path, is predestined in my opinion, right? So it's part of our soul path. We all are here for our own journey, right?
Yes.
And so that's the reason why it is laid out like that for you. But the winding road is part of the beauty of the journey, because we get to discover all of these different nuances about ourselves so that we can continue to grow and expand, so we can really be more infinite, which leads me into the next part of our discussion, which I can't wait to talk about because it's near and dear to my heart, which is bringing heaven to earth, or having a more heaven on earth experience, right? So it's kind
Yes,
of like lends itself right into that.
absolutely. And I think that this all comes down to our ability to trust.
Yeah.
Because when we trust, we are saying no to fear.
Yeah.
We're saying, I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but the feelings and the energetic alignment of what's going on makes me feel safe, makes me feel connected, or it makes me feel like I'm in the right space at the right time.
Yeah.
And then when we stop looking to that external for the validation of what we already feel to be true for ourselves, That's when we're in that intuitive mastery place.
Yeah.
That's when we're really using our abilities in our best good. And even though we might take off on a detour or on an energetic detour, ultimately there are lessons learned on those paths as well. And
Hmm.
many times it's those harsh lessons that bump us back onto our path. And I think one of the biggest trust elements here is that when we are offered a repeated situation, because the universe will absolutely do that to us, that we learn from our own lessons and say, well, I did this before, and this is where it ended up taking me.
Right.
I have a similar feeling again. Am I now going to learn from that detour and that lesson and maybe not repeat it? Or am I going to do that again? And that comes into our trust. That comes into that
Mm.
place of not looking to the external for the validation, but honing it back into our inner knowing, as you're saying, of what really is the right thing for us. It's all about that trust piece and allowing us to
100%.
integrate what's showing up for us without the proof.
Exactly, because fear is something that's it's an emotion based on a tangible thing, right? An experience that we've had for most of the time, right? And even if it's not a conscious experience where we can remember exactly what it is, it's an experience that our brain remembers or our body remembers, right? And so fear is a very tangible thing, and that is only 1% of what our real experiences are. There's 99% that's out there that's also part of our world and our experience. And so if we keep choosing fear or a fearful choice, then we're going to keep ourselves very limited. And so when we choose the I don't know, but I'm just going to, um, then we're choosing the unknown, and we're choosing really more of what is our true intuition, and really what is more of this aspect of fuller expression, bigger expansion, more infinite aspects of self and soul and expression in the multiverse, really, right?
Yes.
And the other thing too that I think is so important to speak into with this is that it's not even just about, we're talking about it being for the individual and for ourselves, but I really truly believe that, and I know it's not even a belief, it's like a knowing that when we choose this and we get that and we get that we become more and more in the flow, right, with the universe and with that ease, with ourselves, with our expression, we're creating space for others to do the same.
Yes. Yes. And I think it's the demonstration of courage and bravery.
Mm,
It's hard to take those leaps of faith without the validations, without the safety nets.
yeah.
But, think of like when you go on vacation and maybe people are all lining up to do a bungee cord event over a waterfall or something like that. Nobody's running to the front of the line,
Yeah.
right? Because it's scary, it's unknown. Everyone's like, well, let them go first, right? And it's because we want to see safety. And so when we start to see others jump or step out into that unsafe,
Yeah.
safe place and see other people using this and operating out of faith instead of fear and seeing that it works for them and that there aren't any giant booby traps or boogeymen waiting to get you by empowering
Yeah.
yourself, it gives you the strength to go, maybe that can work for me too.
Right.
Maybe I should get a little uncomfortable because nothing new is ever created out of the same box,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Like that saying, if nothing ever changes, nothing ever
Nothing
changes.
changes. Yeah.
But when we change here, then the universe changes around us because it's what elements we're working with. And what is in is also out, right? What we put
Yeah.
in is how the universe reacts and responds to us energetically. So if we're willing to put in chance and bravery
Mm,
and compassion and taking chances,
I love it.
then the universe rewards us in that way by saying, look at your bravery and courage to step outside the box. And look at what other beautiful things are waiting for you when you're willing to go into that unknown and to trust that peace.
Mhm. I love
It's
that.
aligned trust. I feel it's like the universe acknowledging your trust in it. And so you co-create with the universe, being
Mhm.
while
Yes.
feeling loved and feeling held, regardless of not having the proof.
Yes, exactly. It just is.
Yes,
It
I
just
remember
is.
having an opportunity to work at a certain location, for example, looking at different partnerships. And even though everything on paper looked fantastic,
Mhm.
something felt off to me. And I felt like a little bit of a jerk because this person was very nice to me. They were extending opportunity and all of this, but it just didn't feel right. And I remember calling this person back afterwards and saying, I am so sorry, but I really don't think I can move forward with this at this time. And I won't go into the details, but that worked out to be in my best benefit.
Yes, 100%. And I know that it's so cringy when you're in those moments because there is this aspect of ourselves. Like for me, I know that part of what I'm here for is this human experience. And so it's very cringy to feel like you're potentially disappointing someone else, right? That people pleasing aspect comes out. And listen, we all have it on some level because we're all collectively kind of deprogramming this um misaligned energy with like how we're here to really serve, right?
Yes.
And the way that we serve. um so I still work through that, and it's hard, it's cringy, and I want to really just like bust the myths about like the fact that it's not always easy. It's actually most uncomfortable when you're honoring your intuition. The ease comes after,
It does. It
right?
does. That's right. I mean, some of the hardest decisions are making decisions without the attachment of whatever that outcome is,
Yeah.
because you're really taking that big leap of faith. In tarot decks, people, there's the Fool card, and the Fool
Mhm.
is about taking that leap of faith,
Yeah.
not necessarily a blind leap of faith. The energy in the Fool card would talk about having a feeling or an inner knowing of how it would work out if you were to jump.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so the question is, do you jump? Do you
Right.
have the bravery to jump anyways?
Right. I love
Yes.
that. I love that so much. Kelly, this has been such a great conversation. I feel like we're really just serving up so many wonderful, very easy to um, receive information for everyone to really continue on their journey wherever they are with their self mastery. I'm wondering, since we're wrapping things up, I'm wondering if you have any message, anything that you'd like to share that's important to you, that's on your heart.
Hey, okay. Let's see. Let me just connect. I'll
Yeah.
let's ask Spirit if there are messages for all those who are in this container, for all those who are maybe considering starting to take some leaps of faith, starting to go outside the box a little more. Let me just connect here and see if there is any guidance for.
And so for everybody
What's
who's
the
go
what's the
ahead.
word for that, Spirit? What's the word for that? Thank you for being patient as I collect this information.
Mhm.
Um, so Spirit is lovingly reminding us that when we connect to our roots, this is where our intrinsic safety lies. The
Mhm.
way that it was shown to me was visually as a seed underneath the ground. very safe, very contained. And once a seed starts to sprout, it grows and then starts to rise above ground level,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Now, once it's above ground level, let's just say this is a flower, and the wind comes by, the water comes by, the heat, the drought, all of this plant now above surface level is being affected by circumstance, being affected by weather, being affected by other energies around it. But underneath the surface, everything is still intact.
Yeah.
Everything is still safe. Everything is rooted in safety and security. And so Spirit is reminding us that it's okay to go and peak above the surface level. It's okay to put yourself out there and maybe have some experiences that maybe make you question your safety, make you question if it's the right thing. Maybe you might be weathering the storm in some ways,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's that harsh relationship, the hard 2 or 3 years, whatever that looks like. But Spirit's reminding you when we dwell and keep all of our focus up here on all of these swirling, whirling things around us, we're taking our point and our energy away from our true strength, which is our root and our connection to what is true for us. This is just circumstance of what's
Mhm.
going on around us. These are just the experiences that we are diving in and diving out of. But that is not all of who we are. When we remember where we came from and how we started, our intrinsic skills, our intrinsic senses of what we were born with in our DNA, when we keep coming back to that, we will always be rooted in our safety, in our knowing that no matter what happens above the surface, we still have an anchor to come back into, which is trust and knowing and compassion and love.
I love that. And what are we rooted into? Mother Earth.
That's right. That's right.
The
I hope that's a helpful message for so many people who are here today.
I'm sure it is. Thank you so much. And Kelly, it's just been such a treat to have you today. It's I think this is going to really land well with individuals who are listening, and I'm hoping that they'll all engage and comment and share questions that they might have. Tell us how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. You can always reach me on my website, kellyfergusonreadings.com. I am on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. I love to be able to share intuitive tips and real, easily digestible thoughts and information and tools that you can put in your pocket and hit the ground running so you can get assistance and help now, right? And
Yeah.
so I will always be available to help others empower themselves and come back to their own roots.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I just love you and I adore you. And the way that you are serving is beautiful. And I'm so grateful that you're out there doing what you're doing. And until the next time, everybody, I hope that you subscribe to our community and clicking on the link below. And also, I hope that you now the healer's journey is here. Our book is here. Discover the healer within. And I would love for you all to get a copy. So you can find that on Amazon. And I'll also include the link in the notes as well. So thank you, everybody. Peace and love. Until the next time, be well.